Books make you hope. Books make you dream. Books make you laugh. Books make you scream. This is the Books That Make You show. Discussing books with authors and experts, unraveling the inner pages of all the books that help make us who we are. Hosted by Desiree Duffy.
Welcome, everybody. It is time, once again, for the Books That Make You show, and I'm your host, Desiree Duffy. And today we're talking about books that make you realize that retirement that you dreamed of and hoped for might just be a mirage. It is time to think differently about your financial future. Now, we all have these visions of walking on the beach, enjoying exotic locations, and playing lots of golf while sipping margaritas during our retirement. Maybe we take up that hobby that we always wanted to, painting or jewelry making, scuba diving, restoring old cars, whatever it is. This is having fun without a care in the world, right? But what if your notions about retirement are actually a mirage? Our guest today is the founder of the Strategic Wealth Advisor and author of The Retirement Mirage, Time to Think Differently. Nancy J. Hite is someone who offers very forthright advice and has a fiduciary duty to provide meaningful and workable options for her clients to prepare and or enjoy current and future chapters in her lives. She is also just an amazing speaker. She is a wealth of knowledge, and she's here with us today to talk about her book. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Well, welcome. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to our time together today.
Oh, we're going to have fun. And we're going to, one of the things that it's almost a little scary. Oh my gosh, time to think differently about my retirement. I didn't know that this was something I had to worry about. But that's the whole purpose of this book, is letting people know that things have changed. So can you tell us, just hit the big picture, why are old ideas about retirement different now? Why did you write this book?
Well, I wrote the book because I was really concerned about what I was seeing happening in the real world out there as far as financial information. And I wanted to share with people the wonderful new experiences that we are having in the 21st century. Modern technology and modern medicine has made it absolutely a given that we're going to be living longer. Modern medicine replaces knees, replaces hips. And as a result, you wear glasses, hearing aids, all kinds of medical devices, which extends our life. And with that means we're going to be living much longer. When people thought about retirement in the 20th century, the average life expectancy, if you lived to be 75, you were an old person. Right now, it's not unusual. I saw a woman on TV last week, 105 years old, and she had just had her COVID shot. So it's not unusual to be living late into your 90s. And so to think that you're going to be stopping work sometime in your 60s and have saved enough money for the next 30, 35 years is not realistic. And so that's why I wrote the book, to help people see the fun and adventures they can have during their whole life, and not to really think about retirement as a time when you sit down and stop working at the job that you may or may not have loved.
Exactly. And I think that's the key, is there's such a positive outlook in your book, and you yourself. Look at you. You're wearing beautiful, bright, sunny yellow. You live in Florida. You have the sparkling personality. You're bringing rays of sunshine. It's just a matter of letting people know now so they can prepare for the future, because let's face it, living longer, healthier, happier lives is something we all want to do. We just need to make sure that a retirement is there for us. And I know you recommend a lot of times people can take that hobby or that side hustle that they loved and maybe turn that into something for their future, right?
Absolutely. I think one of the key issues that we need to do in our younger years is to really spend some time developing our hobbies, whether it be, one of my hobbies is cooking. And I don't think I'm ever going to be a master chef, but if I ever needed to make a little extra money, I could probably get a job as a prep chef in a nice restaurant and use my skills that way. If you like to garden, You certainly have the opportunity to spend some extra time learning about different plants and flowers that would be appropriate in different areas. So I think you really want to spend time developing the hobbies. I'm also a golfer. Now, there's no way I'm going on tour, but I would love to be around a golf course and doing some things as far as that's concerned. So take advantage of the things that you love. It could be music, it could be art. Develop those, spend some time with those, and make them part of your personality and your life for your whole life, so that as times change, you always have something you can look forward to, and maybe even make some extra money doing it.
Yeah, I love that, because you're right. I mean, that's the thing. Technology is changing in so many different ways. Robotics, AI, artificial intelligence, and as these things happen, I feel like what we need to do is be flexible and agile. And I know that's part of your book as well.
Absolutely. Artificial intelligence has done wonderful things in the financial world as far as making it much easier to find out if somebody has logged into your account who shouldn't be, to make sure that if you decide to make a financial trade, that it happens very quickly. But at the same time, it also has interrupted some of our current professions, where we might have robots doing work that we were doing. And they might even take place and allow you to be put in a position where you're not as dependent on in that particular company to do the job you're doing. So you're going to have to continue to learn in your current profession. And one of the things that I would hope that you would do would try to find a job that you love to do, so that on Monday morning you look forward to getting up, rather than saying, oh my goodness, this is not where I want to be. I want to be where I was on Sunday. Look forward to it. And that's always a difficult thing to do. But if you're financially secure, it becomes much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the markets can be very volatile too. If you want to speak to that a little bit, sometimes it goes up and down. And that's something else that people should take into consideration.
Absolutely. My personal belief is that the market DNA is volatility. And when you invest in the market, you have to be willing to accept the volatility. Now, the issue becomes, can you emotionally and financially handle that particular aspect of the market? I say it is the DNA, and you cannot take it out. Now, we do have long stretches where the market goes up and we get lulled into a sense of thinking, my goodness, this is the way it's going to go forever. But it isn't that way. No more. I live in Florida. People come to visit me. They only bring bikinis and suntan lotion. Yet in the backseat of my car, I have an umbrella, because I know it can rain on one side of the street and not on the other. So you need to have the same kind of feeling about being in the market and your financial investments. If you pick the ones that are aligned with what your particular goals are, the chances of you being anxious when there is volatility will be much less apt to happen.
Oh, great advice. And I do want to touch on Robinhood and day trading and all that, that GameStop stuff. But, I want to focus mostly on you and your book. So we'll touch on that a little bit later, just for fun. But right now, I want to dig into some of the concepts in your book. One of the things that you talk about is educating our children and making sure that they understand the importance and ways to think about money. So do you want to talk a little bit about some of your educational ideas?
Well, let me start by saying, Desiree, that we make our money decisions around the kitchen table. We do not make them on a spreadsheet. And we have to realize that as children, we absorb the values that our parents have as we're growing up to deal with money. If, as a child, you said to mom and dad, I want the same sneakers that Joey has next door, and they look great, And if your parents took you to the sneaker store and you got those sneakers, your idea of money is spend it for all the things you want. If, on the other hand, while you're sitting around the dinner table, you ask the same thing about getting the sneakers, and one of your parents says, look, we can't get those sneakers right now. We need to make sure we pay the electric bill so that we can keep the heat on or the air conditioning on, and we have to put food on the table. So we're not going to be able to do that. You may have to wait until Christmas to get those sneakers. Your idea of money is completely different. And these are the values that you grow up with as you mature. You can take all kinds of financial courses, whether it be at Harvard or Princeton or Yale, but your values have been formed around your kitchen table. And in the book, I do have a chapter about how parents with children as young as 4 years old can start teaching their kids about money and how it works.
How can you do that? I mean, do you have some practical ways of actually doing that with your kids?
Yes, I do. Well, I think this works very well, and I've had parents tell me it works. The main problem we have is with the parents being able to go ahead and work with the program. I suggest having 3 cups, small cups on the kitchen counter, one for spend it now, one for spend it later, and one for spend it never. We're going to give it to charity, or we're going to do something else with it. And as the child does different chores around the house, make their bed, put their clothes away, set the kitchen table, whatever little chores you give them, let's start paying them in quarters, nickels, and dimes. And we have them separate the money that they get. So if they get a quarter, we have 2 dimes and a nickel. They put some money in each one of the cups. And the one that we're going to spend now is what we're going to spend this weekend when we go out shopping. And they start saving the money. And as we do that, we take them shopping. Let's say we're in the supermarket. Let's say they're 4 years old. They're walking, but they're a little restless. So you put them in the carriage. And you say, now, look, we're going to be buying chocolate chip cookies today. But instead of buying our regular brand, the store has some on sale. And the sale tag is yellow. So as we're riding down the aisle, I want you to see if you can find the yellow tag, and those are the ones we're going to buy so that we can save some money for later. And we do that every time we go. So it becomes a teaching experience for the child to say it's a game for them at this point. They're trying to find the yellow tag or the red tag, and we're saving money because later we're going to be going and buying some ice cream, and you brought your spend it now money for the ice cream. And we start teaching them at this age that we have some money for now. We can save some by buying something on special, and it gives us a little bit more for later.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's a learning exercise. It's teaching them at the same time. That's wonderful. And your motto, I love your motto: spend it now, spend it later, or spend it never. Can you tell us why that is your motto and why you feel other people should adapt it too?
Well, I think it really gives us, in a nutshell, exactly what we do with money. Whether you're about 4 years old, 14 years old, or 44 years old, you have to make decisions with the money you have. Do I want to spend it now on whatever the item is? Do I want to save some for later? And number 3, do I want to give some away to my children, my grandchildren, or to charity? We try to KISS, keep it simple, sweetie. This is not brain surgery when it comes to money. I know it's very difficult for people because we make it more complicated than it really is. One of the things that I suggest to help people get to this mindset is when you're thinking about buying something, take 15 or 20 seconds and ask yourself, do I need this or do I want this? If you really want it, then buy it. Don't deny yourself, but there won't be enough money for something else that you want later. If, on the other hand, after a while, I think what I have found out is people have told me after they ask themselves this question for a week or two, they finally realize they put the item back, or they say, you know what, I really don't need this. I've got enough of what I have. and they don't buy it. And they find that they're able to have more money to pay their credit cards, to pay their rent, to do things they want to do by just simply asking themselves, do I want this or do I need this? And I think that's the first step to help you get to the next place as far as being financially secure so that you can do the things you'd like to do.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very true. I've been watching and reading a little bit on just minimalizing our lives, how even doing that makes you feel good to literally have less. And so it's that mindset, right? Rather than thinking you need all these things, you need the fancy watch, you need the beautiful jewelry. I think this was maybe like $5 on Amazon. It looks good enough, but you're right, because it even helps you feel better. It reduces anxiety to actually just clean everything out. So keep that in mind when you're shopping, because you don't need that. And like you said, you can use that for rent or, the things that you need to get by, and then you're saving as well. So let's talk a little bit about the book and who you feel is really the person that should read it. Who should be grabbing a copy of the Retirement Mirage?
Well, let me say this. If I could afford it, I would send a copy of the book to everybody who's even thinking about ever retiring. Everybody should read it. It is not a book about whether it's bonds or stocks or mutual funds or exchange traded funds. It's more about how do you make yourself wealthy as opposed to rich. A rich person has to have all the shiny baubles. They have the automobile that's costing them $750 a month on a lease. If they lose their job, that's the end of that car. And they really care, the rich person does, what the next person thinks of them. So all the baubles that they have, it gives them a sense of being important. That's different than a wealthy person. A wealthy person doesn't give a damn about what the next person thinks. They're more interested in having financial security so they can do whatever they want. They've got enough emergency fund money sitting in the bank. It's not earning anything in today's marketplace, but that's not there for that reason. It gives them the ability that if somebody offers them a job that they would like to take, even though it might be less money, they can take it because that new job has great opportunities going forward. And they've got enough extra money sitting in the bank so they can pay the rent while they're getting started in the new job. If you don't have that cushion, you can't be wealthy and you can't get to the place you want to get to. So think about the difference. It's about being wealthy and being rich.
And it is so, keep going. I got tingles down my spine. Well, that's such a good analogy.
Well, and we've all gone through that stage where we have to have that particular item, whether it be the sweatshirt or the sneakers or the necklace or the earrings or the tattoo, whatever it is, we have to have it because so-and-so has it and they're thought of in a special way. In the meantime, it's keeping you from being wealthy. So you don't really want to think and make your life around what other people think of you. You have enough integrity inside of you. Trust the values you have and let that guide you going forward. And that's why this, my concept, spend it now, spend it later, or spend it never, is so important. And later doesn't mean 40 years from now. It could be 3 or 4 years later for a vacation. Or a new home. It's just not now. It's not this week and this month.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in your book, in writing your book, you have great stories in here as well. And one of the things that is just wonderful when you read it is you're speaking to people in the way in a way that they understand. You mentioned earlier, this isn't all about stocks and investing in markets and mathematical stuff. You're talking to people in this book like you're talking to me right now. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the writing and about some of the stories that are in it and how you envision and how people will actually feel when they read this book?
the main focus of the book is to help you see that you're not alone, that other people have had the same financial difficulties. Most of the stories are stories of different clients I've had through the years and how they have resolved the issues that they've had, whether it was a job that didn't pay enough, whether it was credit card debt that was putting them under, and how they got from point A to point B. And it's not, the book is not 300 pages, because I don't think you need 300 pages to talk about the same topic. And I also wanted to be a book where you could read each chapter separately, put it down, give yourself time to think about it, and then pick it up and pick up a different chapter. You don't have to read it in the order in which it's written, because each chapter is self-contained and independent. But it handles and goes through all the issues that I have found to be the most important for people trying to get their financial life in order. And it's not dictating what you should do. It's sharing with you the experiences that other people have had. And also why I think retirement really should not be a word in your vocabulary in the 21st century. Now, that doesn't mean you should be working, and I use that word in quotes, until you're 95 years old. But your hobby is not work. You love that. You look forward to doing that. And so that's why I want you to develop it through the years so that you can have something that will bring in some extra money, whatever that may be. We don't know what life is going to bring us. God forbid we become disabled, or our partner becomes disabled, and we need to have another way to bring in income. That is part of also the issue. That's an umbrella in your financial life. And so just the same way that if you drive a car, you have a spare tire. I talked to you about having an umbrella in the back seat, but you have a seatbelt. And most of the time, if you don't put it on, that damn buzzer keeps going until you do put it on. So there are different things that you can do financially that will also give you peace of mind. So if you run into a problem, the solution is there. You've already prepared for it.
Oh, yeah, that is such excellent advice. And let's, talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's going on right now. We hear about Robinhood and day trading, and, it kind of weaves right into everything that you're talking about, because it feels like the flashy thing to go after now, but it really might not be what it seems. That might kind of be a mirage in and of itself. Do you want to give us your thoughts on, people who are day trading and GameStop and all of that stuff?
Well, day trading is really not a way to invest for the future, because what you're actually saying, I have $100 or $1,000 and I'm going to play a game, I'm going to bet that the stock is going to go up. Or you could be selling it short, meaning you think the stock is going to go down. Take a look at Bitcoin. Today it's over 50,000. Now, do you think it's going to continue to go up, or do you think maybe you should sell it short, meaning you're going to wait for it to go down and buy it back? But it's a game. It's not a way to make money for the long term. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but if you do it, you are playing with fire, and the fire is your money. If you can afford to lose that money, that's fine. Most of the people I know cannot afford to lose it. They need to be thinking about having it for other things that they'd like to do. So as long as you realize it's a game, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a way to invest for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't time the market. What I'm more interested in is time in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And yes.
Yeah, that's the key, because, and I haven't checked yet. And I do actually do a little bit on the side, and it is just for fun. So you just told me that Bitcoin is up today, and I sold it yesterday. So I'm like, oh, okay.
But that's okay, because you sold it because you obviously made some money and you weren't greedy.
I did. I made a little bit and I got out.
This morning, by this afternoon, it could be down. So you just don't know. But that's where the artificial intelligences come into the financial industry. Years ago, in order to put in a trade ticket, you had to call the New York Stock Exchange. Somebody took a piece of paper, walked it over to a desk, and 2 hours later, you may get a trade. Today, the trades are instantaneous, so that you can sell and buy in nanoseconds, so to speak. Yeah. So it is completely different. It is a good thing. It does have its benefits, but at the same time, we have to be careful. As long as we know we're playing a game, not a problem.
That is key. Excellent, excellent advice. So tell us what you've got going on next. Is there going to be another book? Are we going to see Nancy on the golf course more often? What do you got that you're working on?
Well, right now I'm just working on trying to share the importance of this information because, as I said, it is outside the box of the regular financial information that people are hearing about. I just read an article yesterday that the current administration is thinking of doing away with the 401k tax deduction that you get for putting your money in. Now, whether that will pass or not, I don't know. But don't forget, the people in Congress do not have 401ks. They have pensions that are guaranteed, so they're not affected by that. So that's a different story. I don't want to get down on the political aspect of it, but we need to realize that the laws can change. And I'm really focused in helping people have tax-free money for passive money when they get ready to slow down and not work full time. And so that would become a key. And so I'm working on that area going forward.
Beautiful. I love that. And so to that, can you let people know where they can find you online? Give out your website. And of course, the book is available on Amazon. Let people know where they can find that as well.
You can certainly find it on Amazon. It's on the ebook or the Kindle book is on special this month. So please take advantage of that while you can. I know it's in your budget. I made it the price so that I'm not going to tell you on the air. You have to go and look. But I promise you it is in your budget. It's less than a cup of coffee. Definitely less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, you can find me at The Strategic Wealth Advisor, .com. My webpage is there. I think Desiree will probably put that up afterwards, and you'll be able to get that. Or just put my name in, Nancy Hite, CFP, and it should also come up if you go down that way with a Chrome or Safari, whatever browser you happen to use. You should be able to find me.
You are you search very well. When we put your name and the title of your book in, there's lots of great results that come up in search results.
Yes, the book was number one last week on Amazon. Of course, Amazon changes, so I don't know where it is this week. But I do think there's a lot of great information in there, as I mentioned, about how you can adjust what you're doing without it being painful. And I think that's the main thing. We want to make sure you can get from where you are now to the next place without having a lot of pain. Yes, exactly. Like anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And here it is, The Retirement Mirage, Time to Think Differently. It is available on Amazon. It's available elsewhere too. It's on Barnes & Noble and every place that you can find books. You can get the ebook, you can get the physical, beautiful book like this. Thank you, Nancy, for joining us today. It was delightful talking to you about your book. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you also, Desiree, for inviting me. Have a wonderful day.
You bet. You too. And thank you for being here with us today. Again, my name is Desiree Duffy, and you've been listening to Books That Make You. And you can find out more about us on our website. It's booksthatmakeyou.com. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. Sign up for the newsletter. We're always doing fun bookish stuff. We've got book news, information, giveaways, contests, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can watch videos, interviews such as this. Until next time, all of my bookish buddies, please enjoy all of the books that make you exactly who you are.
The executive producer for Books That Make You is Desiree Duffy. Produced and sound mastered by Phil Giangrande. Engineering by Dave Nabox. Social media and promotion by Bree Sweeter. For more, visit booksthatmakeyou.com.